This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. I hope you're keeping well. After a short break, I am back on the podcast recording game. I have got a fair few coming your way over the next few weeks and months, so stay subscribed and you won't miss them. Of course, all concentrating on our very own national football team. Now, for this episode, I'm looking at all the England-related players that have made a summer move during the transfer window that opened on the 1st of June and closed on the 1st of September. Now, I'd done one sort of this time last year where I think there were only about 15 who made a move. Either I didn't count them up properly, or this time around, there is a lot more. And I think a combined transfer amount of around 650 million. This for either former, current, or maybe even future England internationals. We all know it's been a pricey old summer, hasn't it? Cost of living crisis, tightening of the purse strings, energy bills, domestic goods, petrol. Means absolutely nothing in the world of football. Apparently, the Premier League spent a record £2.36 billion in this transfer window. Unbelievable numbers. Here to go through all those England players, past, present and future, is Gary Lambert from Channel England Football over on YouTube. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Russell. Nice to be back.
Yeah, good to speak to you again. How's the channel going?
Yeah, very good. Had a very successful Women's World Cup, actually. So, yeah, it really took off this summer.
The Women's World Cup just didn't happen for us, did it?
No. I mean, the final was disappointing, wasn't it? But I think they did really well to get there. You know, our first ever World Cup final. So, yeah, it was a great summer in the end. Absolutely.
I'm thinking back, though, that the World Cup final, unfortunately, I mean, obviously we know the result, but what's come of it since isn't football related. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how messy has that got now? And I think it's only going to get worse, isn't it? But yeah, whatever comes of that. But it is disappointing because nobody's talking about Spain winning the thing, are they?
No, sad state of affairs. Very sad. But this episode, we are talking England transfers. Of course, the transfer window has shut or slammed shut, as Sky Sports like to. Do they still use slammed shut?
I think so. It's very dramatic, very American, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I dislike deadline day. The transfer window, yeah, it's just a lot of hype and talk, isn't it, by agents? And back in the day, players would just get on and move, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's just all the glam. It's all part of the act, isn't it? And the show of football now. I mean, literally people love transfer deadline day. I've got mates who literally sit in front of the TV 24/7. So,
I've got to say, yeah, not for me. I am, however, though, going to put that to one side and just go through some of these England players that have moved since the 1st of June. Some of these players might be ones you've forgotten about. Some of them will be, that's a good move for him. Some we might think, that's not too sure about that. But we'll go through them. I'm going to start it all in like an order of they happened. So back in June, 6th of June, Jack Butland moved from Crystal Palace to Rangers on a free transfer. He had 9 caps for Jack Butland. Of course, goalkeeper. I'm trying to think. Chris Woods was a former England goalkeeper that went up to Rangers back in the day. James Milner, a few days later. He's been around forever, hasn't he, James Milner?
He's like Benjamin Button of football, isn't he?
Yes. I mean, he's 37.
Wow.
But he has always done a job for anyone, wherever he's gone. This time he went to Brighton from Liverpool on a free transfer. 61 caps for Milner and 1 goal between 2009 and 2016. I mean, he's not going to get back in the England squad, I wouldn't have thought. But it is nice sometimes when you see these players like that still around. He's a proper footballer, James Milner.
Yeah, and for a free as well, even if he doesn't play many games, the experience he'll bring, it's a good signing for Brighton.
Yeah, and of course Brighton in European football this year, so
yes.
He will bring them that experience. But the first big one, really, of the transfer window, and I think it was always on the cards, was Jude Bellingham. Dortmund to Real Madrid, 88.5 million and supposedly rising to 115 million pounds. Already, he's got 24 caps for England. He's only, 21, something like that.
Early 20s, yeah. He scored the winner again last night. He started life at Real Madrid really well, hasn't he? And he's unbelievable. He is the one England player where you look at, and you try and take your England brain out of it, don't you? Because let's be honest, we think everyone's world class at 20 if they're playing first team football. But
of course,
Jude Bellingham really is. He is so good. And dare I say, he's not, obviously, because the prices in football now are absolutely outrageous. But even at those, in this current market, at those prices, Jude Bellingham's looking a steal at the minute for the player he's looking like he's going to become, and he's just unbelievable. And what a signing for Real Madrid, and what a signing for England as well, because I want to see more English players play abroad. I think that can only benefit our international team. And he's just started life in Real Madrid absolutely magnificently.
He's one of these players that, when I've heard him speak before after a match when he's speaking to the TV, he just speaks so well. He's been brought up so well. Obviously started at Birmingham City, went to Dortmund. He's the type of guy that he's learnt German when he was in Dortmund. He's just going to become fluent in Spanish. Just a genuine all-round good guy, and deserves everything that comes his way. I think he scored on his debut as well.
Yeah. I think you see with England in particular, because we build them up so quickly, how many England players have we seen who, by Jude Bellingham's age, have already started to, wane a little bit? They've been amazing as a teenager, but then by the time they get to the, early 20s, even then, it almost becomes too big for them. They're too big for the boots, or they've earned the money and they're not interested. But off the pitch and on the pitch, he just seems to continuously grow, doesn't he? And at the World Cup, he was absolutely fantastic. The writing was on the wall for him to move to Real Madrid. And he is going to be England's key player moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that someone even said he's already a Ballon d'Or winner, just in waiting.
I could not agree more. I think it's certain he'll win the Ballon d'Or at some point.
Yeah, no, it's a nice journey to watch his. A few days later, 28th of June, another fairly big move, but it's probably inevitable following Leicester being relegated to the Championships. But James Maddison moved to Tottenham for 40 million. He's only earned 3 caps for England. His debut was in 2019, and already he's found Tottenham as a nice little home. Even captained them on his debut there, scoring goals for them against Bournemouth and Burnley. He's finding his feet at Tottenham.
Yeah, James Maddison. I mean, the fact that he's only had 3 caps, I don't think historically that's unfair, but certainly over the past year, I think a lot of us were calling for Maddison to start more games for England when he was playing so well for Leicester, despite obviously them getting relegated. And again, I think at today's market, 26-year-old Englishman, £40 million for Tottenham. I think it's a steal. And I think he's showing his worth. I think he'll grow from strength to strength at Tottenham. And again, I'm glad to see him in the England squad. And I think he's going to be a key player for the national side moving forward. Yeah,
got a few goals in him, James Maddison. Yeah. There's a play you said about obviously wanting to see England players abroad, which is good. And you mentioned the most recent squad announcement. I think we've got 4 overseas players in that squad, and I can't think the last time we had that sort of number playing abroad. One player who's not in this squad, and maybe hasn't been for a little while. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone to AC Milan from Chelsea for supposedly around 15 million. 10 caps to his name, but his last game was in 2018 in that game against the States, the Wayne Rooney Foundation game. I think this is more a case of just Chelsea looking to offload players as well for the whole financial side of things.
Yeah, Chelsea's had a big summer, haven't they? And I think they're spending a lot, but then obviously needed to get rid of a lot of players. And going back to my comment regarding Jude Bellingham, how we build these England players up, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was one of those players where in his early career, we all thought he was going to be brilliant, didn't we? And it just hasn't quite happened for him. And to be honest with you, I think this is a move that he should have done 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I know obviously he had a stint at Fulham, but he just... I think he had 100 caps, just over 100 caps at Chelsea in nearly 10 years. And you just think, where's his ambition? And this is what I mean about wanting players to go abroad earlier when they're not really getting the game time. And I think this move is a good move for him, albeit probably too late. I mean, he's only 27, but I think he should have gone a few years ago. But let's hope he can almost revive his career, because he has just started to become a little bit forgotten. He was at risk, wasn't he? And all of a sudden being 30 years old and everyone's thinking, well, what happened to him? One of those types of players. So, I'm glad he's moved, and let's see what he can do now.
Yeah. And whilst we said about James Maddison going from Leicester to Tottenham, Harry Winks went the other way, Tottenham to Leicester supposedly for 10 million. He was always one of these players, Harry Winks, that was doing well for Tottenham, but could never really sort of make the step up. He got 10 caps for England, and I know Leicester are doing fairly well in the Championship following that relegation, but as we're going to comment on various other players, if you're playing Championship football, you're unlikely to be playing in the England senior team, which kind of brings us on to the next one. Connor Cody went from Wolves to Leicester, I think via Everton, wasn't it? He's gone to Leicester for about 8.5 million. He's always been in and around the England squad, but never sort of stamped his mark on it, has he, Connor Cody?
No, from what I read, Southgate likes him, even if it's just for the dressing room perspective. But it's a surprise move, because he's not a bad player. No. The fact that he's gone down to the Championship at his stage in the career did surprise me a little bit, although I do expect Leicester to come back up. But it just means for England, it's another player who really isn't available in that centre-back position. And it's a gap where we've got so many issues. Because obviously only this week Southgate's announced his England squad and is rightly been slated for including Harry Maguire. And I'm a big fan of Harry Maguire. I really like him for England, but he's not playing football, is he? But then you look at the players who else he can pick, and it's so limited. And then you maybe do understand why Maguire's still in this England squad. So Connor Cody going to Leicester and is disappointing from an England perspective, because for me personally, I don't think you can have Championship players in the national team for England, but hopefully he'll be back up in the Premier League and playing well soon. And at £8.5 million, I think reported, I think it's a good signing for Leicester.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'd expect Leicester to be bouncing straight back up, but the Championship can be a funny old league.
Yeah. Easily can get stuck in there, couldn't they?
They could do. One manager who has made a move, former England player, Steven Gerrard. I'm sure we'll discuss the Saudi Pro League in a little bit more detail in a moment, but he's now manager of Al Ettifaq. Of course, he's previously managed Rangers and Aston Villa. 114 England caps to his name, 21 goals, been touted in the past as, could he be a future England manager? I've got to be honest, I'm not sure that's the right direction for him to be going, if that's his ambition. I don't know about you.
No, he's sold out, hasn't he? And I think what's annoyed, I think everybody over the summer is, when they've gone out to Saudi Arabia, these players, these managers, and they're saying, we've come out there because we like the project. It's nonsense. They've gone out there for the money. It's as simple as that. He's had a mixed career as a manager, but I just think he's sold out, hasn't he? And who knows what he's been paid. I'm sure it's a phenomenal amount of money. So who can probably blame him? But yeah, it's disappointing really, because you do feel like he could have given it another go, maybe in the Championship or even League One. But let's see where it leads.
Yeah. Mason Mount is an interesting one. 5th of July, he moved from Chelsea to Manchester United for £55 million. 36 caps, 5 England goals. His debut was the 4-0 win over Bulgaria in 2019. He has suffered with injuries recently. His most recent appearance was against France in the World Cup in Qatar. He's moved from one big club to another, really. It's just, I guess, we know what he's capable of, Mason Mount. I'm just hoping that maybe he can get a little run together and force his way back into the England side.
Mason Mount is always going to be a player who divides opinion.
Yeah.
Some people are going to see this as a great move and a great signing for Manchester United. Other fans will think 55 million for Mason Mount is an absolute joke. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think he does do a job. He's very unfashionable in that sense. He's not your attractive, exciting midfielder, but he does do a job. And I personally do think Man United have got a good signing. It's an odd move, particularly moving from London to Manchester. I don't really know what he saw was in it for him because he was playing football for Chelsea. It'd be interesting to see. It is a turning point, though, for Mount. I think it has to work.
Yes.
If this doesn't work for him at Man United, then all of a sudden he's just going to be one of those other England players who, by late 20s, you just think, what happened to him? But let's hope it does work out for him.
I'm not 100% sure why he's not in the squad at the moment. Is he still injured?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. And it wasn't really covered, was it, in the press? So I believe he probably is. So I believe he's probably injured at the moment. But it just shows really the whole reaction regarding Mount. I don't think fans would be particularly bothered if he was left out of an England squad. And he's just, I don't know with Mason. He's one of those where I still think, even though he's been around for a long time, I still think it is difficult to work out what he brings and what he offers and what he could potentially lead on to becoming. And it's an interesting place for Mason Mount, for me personally, to still be a little bit of an enigma when he's been around for so long, or it feels like he has.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking on the day that Arsenal play Manchester United on the Sunday, so we'll see whether he features in that game. He's only 24 years old, but as you say, he's been around for what appears to be quite a while. So still plenty of time for him to force his way back into a squad. Maybe it'll be the October fixtures against Malta and Australia, I think, Italy and Australia.
Yeah, I mean, if he is fit, he comes in straight in for Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson, as I'm sure we'll come on to, shouldn't be anywhere near the squad, but that's a prime example where he would be in the squad. But he's early 20s. I just want to see him really push on now.
Yeah. Well, like James Milner, there was another player of that ilk who made a move. Ashley Young went from Aston Villa to Everton on a 3. I think he's a year older than James Milner, 38 years old, earned himself 39 caps. His debut was in 2007 away to Austria and was still playing when we went out to Croatia in the World Cup 2018. I mean, as I said, like James Milner, it's just nice to see these players. Basically, they're looking after themselves and still wanting to play. So it's a good luck to Ashley Young. Then another big one. This is sort of where the money sort of really hit the roof. Declan Rice. It was another one where we all knew it was going to happen. As soon as he lifted that trophy for West Ham in Europe at the end of last season, he was pretty much already on his way to Arsenal. £100 million, supposedly rising to 105. He's already earned 43 caps, got 3 goals for England. Debut against the Czech Republic in 2019. People forget, though, that he originally won 3 caps for the Republic of Ireland, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's thank God he swapped.
Yes,
he's been so important. 43 caps. I didn't realise he was on that many caps. To be honest with you, what is he? 24?
I'd say,
yeah, 43 caps. Wow, it just shows you how important he's been. And it sounds like big money because a little bit like Mason Mount, he's not not an exciting footballer in the sense of he's not going to get you loads of assists and goals, but he's the workhorse, isn't he, in the middle? And
he's always there.
Yeah, and it's taken a while for fans outside of West Ham really to really understand and appreciate his quality. And what a way to end his West Ham career, obviously winning the European trophy. And I just think it's a good move. It was an interesting move. I think, why Arsenal, you might ask, but I think it's a London connection, wanting to stay. He's a London boy, isn't he, wanting to stay around there. So that was probably the defining factor for him. But good luck to him. I think, like Jude Bellingham, is the future of England's midfield. And I hope it works out for him.
It is like that spine. People talk about a spine for teams, and I'm sure Gareth knows his first, 4 or 5 players on the team sheet, providing they're fit, and Declan Rice is one of those, along with probably Pickford, Bellingham, Kane, that are
maybe
part
Saka.
of it. Yeah.
But then that's it. There's only, like you said, there's only 4 players, 5 max. That's certain starters, and Rice is one of them. And it just shows you he's a great footballer. £100 million, I think. If they get 10 years out, and in which I think they will, it's a good signing for them.
Yeah, I mean, at 43 caps already, if he goes on, touch wood, injury free, he should get himself over 100 when you think.
Easily.
The likes of Gerrard and Lampard done that. Ashley Cole too. Good luck to him. Goalkeeper time again. James Trafford obviously had a wonderful summer for the under-21s, and he was originally at Manchester City, obviously not playing games, but moved to Burnley for 19 million. I don't know whether he was in goal when they lost to Tottenham, though I haven't looked that up. I'm assuming he was.
I'm not sure, actually. I might have a look now, but yeah, it's I think he's a great signing. Like you said, the summer he had was fantastic. He obviously we won the tournament without conceding a single goal. I mean, how often does that happen? But I think he's a brilliant signing. It's another one that really I was surprised that they let go. But with goalkeepers, you might argue it's a little bit different. And by the way, yes, he was in goal for the 5-2 thrashing. But with goalkeepers, it is a little bit different because they can only play one. You can only play one player there, and so it's a great signing. £19 million. He's still so young, particularly in goalkeeping terms. 20 years old, so I think he's a great signing, and I think he will be England's future number one if the summer was anything to go by.
Yeah, time on his side, and he's playing Premier League football. What more could he want?
Yeah.
Good luck to him. He's, as you say, if once Jordan Pickford hangs his gloves up, he's going to be knocking on his door, I'm sure. Jake Livermore, people have probably forgotten about him. West Brom to Watford on a free. His debut was back in 2012. Nathan Redmond, another one that people think, is he still knocking around? He's gone to Burnley, actually, from Besiktas. How many caps do you think Nathan Redmond earned?
3, 2.
1.
Oh, right, okay.
1, the defeat to Germany in 2017 in Dortmund. Middle of July, Harvey Barnes. He's one of these players he's never really he's been in squads, but only earned himself 1 cap so far, and that was only coming on as a sub. But he went from Leicester to Newcastle for £38 million, and when has scored on his debut for Newcastle, it's happened. Do we see Harvey Barnes as a future England regular?
I'm a big fan of him. I really am. I'm a really big fan of him. The only problem is the area where he's playing. It's we've just got an abundance of talent. I think £38 million is a very good price for a player who I think is going to be really good for Newcastle this season. I just think he's quick. He's got goals in him. I think you can always reflect how good a player is when a team's particularly getting relegated and there's still those players that stand up. And even towards the end of last season, Harvey Barnes was one of those players that almost dragged Leicester out of danger. But I think he's a really good player, and I'd like to see him get on more England caps. I just don't see it being realistic given the strength and depth we've got in those areas, which is a bit of a shame, really. But who knows? Newcastle are obviously a team in transition at the minute. They're in Champions League football. Let's see what he can do in that tournament if he gets the opportunity, and he may force his way in.
Yeah, absolutely. At Newcastle, in the position they're in, he's got the ideal opportunity to make himself known to Gareth Southgate. Another one is a strange one. I remember talking about this one before. Wilfried Zaha went from Crystal Palace to Galatasaray. He's not going to earn himself any more England caps, despite having 2 back in 2012, because he switched allegiances to the Ivory Coast. So yeah, well, Wilfried Zaha's gone to Turkey. Let's talk about it now. Jordan Henderson. We've mentioned Steven Gerrard, obviously, manager of Al Ettifaq, and I can only imagine that Jordan Henderson has gone to that particular team because of the connection there with Steven Gerrard. 77 caps for Jordan Henderson. He's been selected for the latest squad to play Ukraine and Scotland. He moved there for £12 million, but he's gone with controversy, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we all know there's a lot of, and this is including who owns Premier League clubs as well, state-run or state-sponsored, and particularly in certain countries, political views on, a whole range of different things. People obviously don't agree with the way those countries run things. And I think with Jordan Henderson, from what I understand, he was quite an ambassador to certain areas of the community, and it sort of goes against some of those ethics that he originally championed. But again, from a financial point of view, money is everything. It's a cruel and horrible way to look at the world, but I don't know what he's been paid, but he's clearly gone there for a big final payday. In terms of his stage in his career, his age, financially, it's a sound move for him, but ethically, it's going to be a debate that rages on for a long, long time.
If players want to move, it's entirely up to them, but you just kind of wish, just be honest. I'm going for the money, because
I think it's that side, isn't it? It's just be sincere. Just speak the truth. You go in because it's too good of an opportunity financially to turn down, and you've got to live by the choices you make. You then can't criticize people who are then criticizing you because you're going against previous things you stood for, because that is what's happened. They're the choices he's made. So it's just, it'll rage on for a long, long time, because this is obviously the first transfer window where this Saudi league has really, come to the forefront, and it's only going to get bigger. So it's going to be an argument that goes on for a long, long time.
The thing that I kind of struggle with is that he's gone from, or these players have gone from big leagues, Premier League, La Liga, where they're playing in front of 40, 50, in some cases 60, 80,000 people per week or every other week. And now they're going to stadiums that hold 10, 20,000. I know that's...
The problem is, without sounding too cynical against all footballers, they're not bothered. They really aren't. And it is a bit of a, all these club fans out there that think their players are, it all comes down to money. The Premier League has just spent, as you said at the start of this podcast, over £2 billion. That is why we have the best players. People do not come here for projects or because they like the cities or anything like that. Wherever the most money is going, that is where people will go, and it's as cynical as that. And arguably, if we was all in the same position, we would probably all do the same. But it is the harsh reality of football, and it does put a cat amongst the pigeons in terms of the Premier League's dominance and European dominance in terms of attracting the best players in the world. But I mean, if you're earning £400,000 a week or whatever they're going to be reporting, I won't be bothered about playing in front of 10,000 people or 90,000. So that is the black and white cynical perspective of football, really.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, project in Saudi. Do we see him as an England regular from now on?
No chance. And it's just, you can't be going there and being called up to the England squad. It's not yet. It may be in a while, but you can't just after one transfer window say that is a league that has any standards that England should be picking players from. It's at the minute, it's still, even though they've taken players that are a bit younger, it is still the graveyard league for a lot of players. America's been one of those leagues for a long time, where just essentially places where people go at the end of the career to earn a bit more money. It's not a place where the quality of football is such where you think we should be picking England players from, personally. And this is England we're talking about. We're a big footballing nation. The fact that Gareth Southgate's still calling Jordan Henderson up when he's out playing in Saudi Arabia, for me, is just, it's not good enough.
I get that, but I've got this hunch that Gareth will continue to select him.
Yeah, no. We've seen a change in Gareth Southgate. I don't know if you remember early, for a long period throughout his England managerial career, he used to be praised for picking players who were on form. That was one of the things that he seemed to be quite different about. And it seems to have been since probably the last 2 years, he has started to have, I wouldn't even say favourites, because otherwise Sterling would have come back in, but he just seems to be stuck in his ways where he's picking certain players and they're not making much sense. And that's fine if we then go on and win trophies, but we're not. But yeah, there has seemed to be a bit of a change in the way Gareth Southgate picks his squads.
Well, we shall see. We've got 2 more international windows to come before the year is out, October and November. We'll see if Jordan Henderson gets into that. I've got to be honest, I haven't taken any notice of whether how many games he's even played for Al Ettifaq yet. Anyway, moving on. Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I always remember him being a good Arsenal player. He had a career ahead of him, but it's just his contract sort of ran out of Arsenal, and he's ended up going to Lyon on a free. Played 5 caps, but unfortunately they were all behind closed doors, all in the COVID area. So I feel for him a little bit, but there you go. Ross Barkley was another free agent. He was at Nice in France, decided to go from there to Luton, which is quite a lifestyle change.
Definitely. Yeah.
33 caps and 6 goals. I can't see Ross Barkley ever getting back into an England team. We mentioned James Trafford. Another youngster was Alex Scott, has gone from Bristol City to Bournemouth for 25 million, just aged 19. He played in the World Cup in the summer in Argentina. Maybe one to watch going forward. Another one that's gone to Bournemouth, Max Aarons for 7 million. He's already got 27 caps at under 21 level, and he was in that team that beat Spain in the summer in the under 21 Euros. I don't know, it's good to see how they'll progress. Could be the difference for Bournemouth being a maybe lower bottom half and a mid-table side, but it's good to see that some of these players are getting the moves that maybe they deserve for the young Lions.
It just shows you how the landscape of football's changed so much. The fact that Alex Scott has gone from Bristol to Bournemouth for £25 million. Imagine a 19-year-old England player going for £25 million even 10 years ago. It'd have been one of the biggest transfers of the summer. People would have been talking about how he's the next amazing talent. So it's almost just got under the radar. So it just really does show you how football's changing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember when 25 million was a big deal. Those days are well gone. Then the 11th of August, it was the one deal that dominated the back pages and every football website and probably every football WhatsApp group chat. Again, because Harry Kane finally left Tottenham. It was on the cards back in 2021 when Manchester City pursued him. There was all this gentleman's agreement between Harry Kane and Daniel Levy, but that never happened. Erling Haaland came in for Manchester City, which put the kibosh on Kane going there. So he spent another couple of years at Tottenham until Bayern Munich came in for him. And I think it's there were so many valuations going through between the two sides. I think it ended up at about 95 million. But basically, Harry Kane is no longer a Tottenham player, and he joins Kevin Keegan and David Beckham as England captains, making a move, and this one to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I mean, massive move from an England perspective. He is arguably England's best player. I think Bayern Munich have got a great player, as we all know. I mean, he will score goals, and he already has been scoring goals. Yeah. I'm glad he's gone. I am glad he's gone. I want to see him win a trophy. I really do, and I think he will at Bayern Munich. Let's see what he can do in the Champions League in a real pedigree of a European team. And I think he's going to score bags of goals. He's going to score absolutely bags of goals for Bayern Munich, and arguably it may extend his career. German football, arguably a bit slower paced than English football. It might suit him as he gets a little bit older. So hopefully it prolongs his career a little bit. He might, all being well, he might have another good 4 years left in him. But yeah, big move. And it seemed like, didn't it? It seemed like it was agreed, and then Harry Kane seemed to have last minute jitters, didn't he, whether he wanted to actually go or not, and then all of a sudden it was back on again. So yeah, I think it's the right move for him, and looking at the league, Tottenham as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham have done well without him. Obviously, at the time we're talking, they've just beaten Burnley 5-2 away, so it's not as if they're missing him.
No, scoring plenty of goals, and it gives everyone a fresh start. And I think Kane does want to. He wants to go somewhere where I think he did pick trophies, didn't he? He did pick trophies. He thought, I want to end my career winning something. And it has obviously allowed that Tottenham team then to look at different ways of playing, because Harry Kane became so important to the way they play. Because people often forget he's not just goals, is he, Harry Kane? He is not just goals. He brings everybody else into the play. He's a great target man. He's such a fantastic footballer. But it opens up the door, for Tottenham to play a different style, and I think Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich will hopefully extend his career.
Well, 84 caps to his name so far. He has the record 58 goals. A debut for him versus Lithuania back in 2015. I don't know if you remember, he came off the bench, and I don't know, within 2 minutes he'd scored.
2015 doesn't seem that long ago, does it? It's really
no, to get 84 games under his belt in 8 years.
He's done well.
Yeah, he's done well, and for a player as well who some people said he had like glass ankles. He has done well. Yeah. 14th of August, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, another of those players that you think, oh yeah, remember him. Went to Besiktas. I think he was playing at Southampton, I think. Another player who was at Southampton, James Ward-Prowse, £30 million. He's gone to West Ham United. But he's still one of these players that just always seems to be a fringe player for Gareth.
I think this is a great signing. And I'm glad it happened, because I was starting to get concerned whether actually someone would buy him. Because the Championship did start and he was still playing, wasn't he, for Southampton. And I'm so glad West Ham's coming. I think it's a great signing for them. I'm adamant, Russell, if you would have stuck James Ward-Prowse on that free kick against France in the last minute, he'd have buried that. And I honestly, I want to see him get more England games, particularly when Jordan Henderson's getting picked at the minute. You just think, come on, James Ward-Prowse surely comes in above him. He's not perfect by any means, but I just think he offers a lot, and I'd like to see him play more games for England.
Perhaps this move will be the spark for him to add to his 11 caps. 2 goals for him, and he made his debut away to Germany in the same game that Nathan Redmond earned his 1 cap in. There were a few young lions. We've already spoken about a couple of them. A few more that made moves before the window shut. Harvey Vale went from Chelsea to Bristol Rovers. He's an England under-20 player. Lewis Hall, Chelsea to Newcastle. He's 25 England youth caps from the under-15s to under-21s. Cameron Archer, Villa to Sheffield United, another young lion with 11 under-21 caps to his name. I think that could be a good move for him. Jed Spence, Tottenham to Leeds. Dane Scarlett, Tottenham to Ipswich. I've heard a lot of good things about him from Tottenham fans, but he's never really sort of made the step up, as far as I can gather. Maybe this loan move will be. Dean Henderson, another goalkeeper, Manchester United to Crystal Palace for 15 million. He's just had the one England cap when he came on as a sub against the Republic of Ireland. Of course, Manchester United bringing in, is it Andre Onana? They've already got David De Gea on their books, so I guess that was an inevitable move. Then there was a transfer, or is it a loan move, this one? But it's been a controversial topic throughout the summer. Mason Greenwood. Now, he was released by Manchester United on the 21st of August following a very complex set of circumstances, but he's ended up at Spanish side Getafe on loan. Getafe are based just outside of Madrid. It was all agreed on deadline day. He's just had that one cap for England, where he came on as a substitute replacing Harry Kane away to Iceland in 2020. He's had 12 minutes of an England career. I just think these circumstances, I can't ever see him adding to that cap. All in all, it was a disastrous away trip for him, as he was sent home with Phil Foden as well for that. How do you want to touch on Mason Greenwood?
I think first off is that Man United haven't actually released him. He's gone out on loan to Getafe.
Right. Okay.
But the way they reported it in the press was the fact that he would be released. So they've done it in a very clever way.
I see.
But he's essentially still a Manchester United player on loan at Getafe. I mean, it's just, personally, I would like to see him get in the England squad again. And we did mention just at the start of this podcast before we went live, is that football has no morals. Football doesn't have no morals. He isn't the first. I mean, being honest and being fair, he hasn't, obviously, there's no court of law that's found him guilty of anything. But there are football players in the past who have been guilty of all sorts of different crimes and still gone on to play football. So it's not a surprise at all that he's still in football and he's gone good to Getafe. I did read a tweet that said what a sorry summer of football that's been for the Spanish in terms of with the kissing scandal and obviously signing Mason Greenwood. It's going to divide opinion, and he forever will. He will forever now divide opinion. As a footballer, strictly as a footballer, he looked phenomenal, didn't he?
Yeah.
He looked absolutely fantastic. But I would always be very, very disappointed if Mason Greenwood came back into the England squad. Under Gareth Southgate, I think that's impossible. I don't think it will happen. Having said that, though, Southgate isn't going to be England's manager in 3 or 4 years' time, and Greenwood's 21 years old.
Well, that's the thing. He's so young and just.
Yeah, so. If he goes to Getafe, has a good season there, who knows? I mean, no one does literally know because he hasn't been playing football for so long. In 3 or 4 years' time, whoever England manager is, if he's had a good run of form, he may get picked again, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, but it would disappoint me. That would be always my opinion on that. We're not obviously fully privy to the ins and outs and the full picture of what really went off. For me, the videos and the audio that was heard is pretty damning. So I don't understand what would have to come out for me not to, take another opinion on that. But whatever the case is, he's now in Getafe. I'm glad he's left the country. But yeah, I think Man United have been very sneaky with this, the way they've handled it. And it just shows you that there are no morals in football. He's still got a contract with Man United until 2025. Right. And I think as we all were probably gauging, I think Man United were doing a few tests of the water, weren't they, and releasing certain things to see how it would be handled and how it would be received. And I think they were pressured into this, really. I think Man United would have been happy to bring him straight back in this season. So I think they've been forced to make this move. But I think Man United, certainly in the long term, still wish to bring him back into their squad.
It's just not a nice set of circumstances for all involved, really.
I mean, Russell, playing football for a living is an absolute privilege. It is an absolute privilege and an honour. And these people earn phenomenal amounts of money. Playing for England, as we both know as England fans, I see that as a privilege beyond even just playing football for your job. It's the pinnacle. And to get that, I think you need to meet certain standards off the pitch and on it. And that's my opinion on Greenwood, and I don't think he meets those. But
Yeah, no, I'd be inclined to agree. Moving on, Rob Holding, he never actually made a senior appearance for England, but he won 5 under-21 caps. He moved to Crystal Palace for 5 million. Callum Hudson-Odoi went from Chelsea to Nottingham Forest for, I don't think a figure was ever put on this, but it was up to 5 million or something. Another of those players that you think, I just never fulfilled his England career. 3 England caps to his name, but never built on from there. And then the real surprise, I mean, I was away when this happened, when the end of the transfer window happened. But this was a surprise. 1st of September, Cole Palmer, Manchester City to Chelsea, 42.5 million. Never actually been in the senior squad, but you'd imagine he can't be far away. He scored in the Community Shield. He scored in the Super Cup for Manchester City. I thought he was ready, up and coming for Manchester City. He's only 21 years old, and here he is moving to Chelsea.
I just didn't see it coming. I thought he was completely untouchable. A bit like it's just another Phil Foden, really.
Yeah.
The way that Pep spoke about him, it seemed like, given the people who had left Man City this year, this was going to be his big breakthrough season. When he's played for Man City, he did start to play Champions League. He played a big part in their treble-winning season last season. Towards the end of the year, he was playing games. He's come in, played well in the Community Shield, and he looks a brilliant player. And for him to move to Chelsea, I'm still quite shocked by it, really. And I think Chelsea potentially here, I've got an absolute steal. 21 years old, like you said, whatever it was, £40 million. I just think he looks a quality player, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted that Pep and Man City have let him go.
The only thing that sort of doesn't sit right with me is Chelsea's previous with players. They have so many players. I know they're trying to balance it all at the moment, but they had a history of loaning players out. I think Pochettino has said he will give him time to fit into the system at Chelsea. But I'm hopeful that he finds his feet at Chelsea and makes his name there, rather than being loaned out to, I don't know, some middle team in the Dutch league or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these players we've already spoken to about, where we've said they haven't really pushed on. Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, Ross Barkley, they've all got something in common. They've all been at Chelsea. So it's it is sometimes a place where it feels like players go for the careers to die pretty early. But I think his quality will shine through. I think it speaks volumes about him, because how easy would it have been for him to stay at Man City, to, keep playing the 10, 12 games or whatever he was getting, and maybe even, look at going on. But he's wanting to play football, and I think that's brilliant. And that's where you're looking back at some of these other players like Hudson-Odoi, for example. They were happy just to sit playing 10 or 15 games a year, earning good money. But he's thinking, well, no, I want to try and force my way into a starting lineup. So I think well done for him to wanting to move there. And I just really hope he pushes on, because he looks like he is going to be a fantastic talent.
13 under-21 caps and 4 goals as an attacking midfielder for Cole Palmer. I don't think it'll be long before he is called up to a squad. Whether it'll be this year, whether it'll be next year, we'll have to wait and see. It's down to him to, as you say, put his stamp on that Chelsea team. But wish him luck. And that kind of rounds up all the England players that have made a move during the summer. There was a couple of retirements, Theo Walcott and Ben Foster, goalkeeper Ben Foster, decided to hang up their boots and gloves. But out of all those particular players, which one do you think has made the move of the window?
I really like Bellingham to Real Madrid, just because I think Bellingham, it really is the real deal. So that one really excites me. I also think Maddison to Tottenham. I just think he's just a player that, given the way he's played for Leicester, I'm excited to see him in a bigger team. And I just think he's going to do really well there. If he stays fit, I just think he's going to be a real good signing for Tottenham.
Obviously, Harry Kane as well is one that we'll all be keeping an eye on. We all know what he's capable of.
I think that's the thing with Harry Kane. He doesn't really. The reason why I picked him out is because he could have gone anywhere and he would just still be the same Harry Kane banging goals in. So, and he's at the stage of the career now where he's not going to change. That we know who Harry Kane is. So, yeah, hopefully he wins a trophy. Definitely.
Yeah, Gary, thank you very much for your time on just going through those transfers from the summer. Obviously, the channel on YouTube, we've mentioned that. What's your plans going forward for that?
Yeah, so like I said at the start, I've had a really successful summer. It's been great covering the Women's World Cup. So moving forward, just continuing to cover the men's game. I am developing my studio at the minute, giving it a paint job and everything. So I might upload some videos this week that are going to be a little bit different while I get that ready. But yeah, come and join me on there. And it's exactly the same as you, Russell. I think we complement each other well. If you're interested in anything England, international related, then yeah, check me out on Channel England Football on YouTube.
Always doing a good job. Of course, I know we will meet up. I think it's the next two games in the October window. Who did I say we've got? We've got Italy and Australia, I think.
Yes, that's right. I mean, that Australia one's going to be, I think it's just going to be one of those nights, isn't it, at Wembley where paper aeroplanes and all that lot will be going off. But we'll go. But I'm looking forward to the Italy game, definitely, because, what a result we got away from home there.
Absolutely. There we go. Good to be back with you. Don't forget, you can follow the show on social media. Just search Three Lions Podcast and give it a follow there. Drop me a line, say hi. I'm also in the throes of putting together a series called Your England Journey. If you have any stories you'd like to share about following England, what got you hooked, your early memories, all that sort of thing, email me, threelionspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll look at getting you on. Simple as that. I will be back with you very soon with the Ukraine-Scotland preview, which also has a guide to Wrocław. That will be with you this week, and it'll be something you can listen to as you're travelling to Poland, if you are going. So hit the subscribe button and you won't miss it. So until the next time, take care of yourselves. Cheers.